you, Robert Glasper, and Terrace Martin went to jazz camp together?
I think I might have been 15. When we got there, it was kind of like a stare down. All the people who I love to work with, spend a lot of time elevating other people. Rob introduced me to Mac Miller. Terrace and put the band together for Snoop Dogg. And the horn section was me, Terrace, and Kamasi.
The Snoopadelics.
I basically become the stunt double for Miles Davis.
Yeah. Wow, so you and Common even go way back.
Before I did any other jazz gig, I was on the road with Common.
You're Grammy nominated on your own album, and you got Common on it, you got Glasper on it, so it's really like...
It's a family affair, man.
It's a family affair. It's been going since you're a teenager.
Some of these people are so used to backing other people that when you delve into their art, you'll see, okay, that's the reason why that person can make me sound great.
Yes.
Because that person has it together for himself.
Step one to producing, who's in the room?
These people are in it to win it. This is not a hobby. This is what every day we're trying to think about how else can we add to the canon of life.
Yes.
I've played a whole bunch of notes in my life, and I'd rather play a lot less.
Yes.
I'd rather play more impactful notes. This art has totally been driven by you and your heart. If you don't put that out there to the universe is actually losing. If you don't give your gift, somebody else won't be blessed.
Go. Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Sitting with me today, an incredible musician, the trumpeter of the century, one of my dear friends, the Grammy-nominated, incredible Keyon Harrold!
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That's Yes, sir.
What's up, my guy?
Man, everything is cool.
Good to see you, bro.
You too, man. Here live in the House of Jam Card.
Let's go. We got Keyon in the house, man. It's great to have you here. Great to hang. We hung last night.
Yes, indeed.
You crushed it last night.
Oh, thank you,
Little
brother.
private show at the living room.
Good vibes, good vibes.
Great vibes. Ronald Bruner Jr. on drums.
Yes.
Your first time playing together.
This is the first time. I mean, over the years, we've sat in many times together, but this is the first time that he's actually played with the band, and he killed it.
Killed it.
Last
night was on fire. I had to get like awkwardly close to you guys. I was like, I want to see everything. But yes, man. And I remember because all right, you're from St. Louis.
Yes.
And then I just knew you as like the New York guy by the time I got hip to Keyon.
I was so New York at that time. So New York, but always heard about Jam Card, and it was always, always a vibe in everything you guys are doing. But, I definitely was so New York before I moved here. And this is a fact, the first day that I moved to LA, you and I were at Karen's place.
Yeah.
That was the first day, and we had an epic hang.
Yeah, we had a great hang.
So, anyway.
I brought Sticks by, right?
Yes, you did. That was the day that I met him.
Yeah.
And since then, we've played.
Which is it. Man,
over at Verse.
All the drummers with Keyon, man.
Listen, Freddie Hubbard says it the best. A trumpeter and a drummer, we go together.
Yes, absolutely.
And if the drums is not hitting for a trumpeter, or the trumpets are not hitting for a drummer, it's not a marriage made in heaven. But, when the drummer's hitting the one and I'm hitting the one, we're good.
Yes,
we're good.
Dude. Oh, man. And what's crazy is, so last night seeing you play with Ron was incredible because I heard you sounded a bit different, right? Like, because I can only imagine you guys all feeding off each other's energies, of course, with the entire ensemble, always feeding off whoever you're playing with. But I've seen you play with a bunch of different drummers. And last night was really exciting. Mm-hmm. Also, when I saw you play with Jonathan Pinson.
Wow, see, you've seen them all, man.
When I saw you play with Pinson, I told Pinson this was my favorite Jonathan Pinson performance I had ever heard when he played with you.
So I brought him up?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
You lifted his talent level. No.
Jonathan is amazing.
Yeah,
Shout out to Pinson.
Yeah, he's amazing, man. I'm bummed I haven't seen you actually play with Sticks. I heard that was amazing with Devin Sticks too.
That was crazy vibes.
That'll be nuts. But anyways, dude, so I'm so happy for you.
Shout out to Trap Jazz.
Oh, dude.
Come on, man.
Come on
you gotta
now.
shout it out.
Come on. We got Trap Jazz for real. I mean, we it's a big family. The Jam Card family has extended all over the globe, and we continue to grow. And we're so happy to have you living in Los Angeles, man. The jazz scene has benefited from you being here.
I'm loving it here.
Man, having you here, having Terrace here, of course Terrace is from here, but having Glasper here, and there's so many other cats that have moved here. It's amazing. And okay, so I actually want to let's take it way back because I just found this out.
Okay.
Because I don't remember how we originally met. Was it from Terrace or no?
I imagine it was Terrace or
maybe just at Blue Note, New York,
something,
or Glasper. Anyways, I
The
don't remember how we
family.
met years ago, but however we met, that was great. And I always since then I always see you with Glasper, I always see you with Terrace, I always see you with Common, I always see you with there's like a I believe that's like your deep family crew.
100%.
But I just found out. So you, Robert Glasper, and Terrace Martin went to jazz camp together.
Yeah, we went to this camp called Vail Jazz Camp.
At what age?
I think I might have been 15, Terrace might have been 16, and Rob might have been 17.
And you guys all coming from different cities.
I'm from St. Louis. Rob was coming from Houston, and Terrace was coming from LA. And, at the time, it wasn't like YouTube, it wasn't Instagram. So nobody really knew that it was people at the same age really trying to figure this music out. So when we got there, it was kind of like a stare down.
Yeah.
Rob has a much funnier story.
What's
Obviously,
Rob's story?
no, me and my big shorts from St. Louis, But we got together, they counted it off and we played, and it was like, we're connected forever. So that's pretty much what it was.
So teenage versions of the three of you got together and played. So before you spoke words, you met like playing?
I mean, basically when we really spoke to each other.
Yeah.
Somebody had counted off the blues, and it was special.
That's so wild, man. What a beautiful thing to have that jazz camp. What attracted the three of you guys to Vail Jazz Camp? Was this like a prestigious camp I just wasn't hip to?
It was a prestigious camp. It was only in the second year when we went. It was only the second year in existence. And the special part about this camp, you can only be chosen. Like you don't just like apply for it. So it's somebody in your community, whether it be like, one of the local presenters or, one of the local elders that people respect all over the world. Or jazz club owners, people who knew that you were doing things in your city. So each one of us was selected, specially to be there.
So then to think of like the timeline, because you guys all, go on to be your individual strong selves in the music world. So I guess Terrace hit first, right?
Terrace got into hip hop and really changed the game.
Yeah. And then he brought in Rob, and he brought in you, and then Rob, and then it just started becoming the collaboration circle.
Big time. So, when I think of Terrace is such a journeyman in music. It's just like, wow. One of the first gigs we did together after that was Terrace had put the band together pretty much for Snoop Dogg. And the horn section was me, Terrace, and Kamasi.
Was that with Sput too back then?
Sput was playing keys. He wasn't even playing drums. And we were roommates.
Right, Sput was, yes. And you were roommates. Wait, okay. You, Terrace, and Kamasi, the horn section for Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop's first Canadian tour.
In Snoop's first Canadian tour?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Sput's on keys.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, how old were you?
I was probably 20,
Wow.
20, 21, something like that.
Was that your first like tour?
It wasn't my first tour because my first entry to the game was playing with Common.
Wow, so you and Common even go way back.
Yeah. That was my first gig. The only time I've ever auditioned for anything was with Common. Obviously, Roy Hargrove did all the trumpet work on the record, but he couldn't do the tour because he was too busy making, Voodoo and Mama's Gun and everything else. So they needed a young trumpet player to step in. So, I got the tour when I was about 18 when I first moved to New York. Even before I did any other jazz gig, I was on the road with Common.
Playing the Hargrove parts with Common.
Yes.
Sick, dude. Wow, that's so crazy. Because, I mean, here you are today. You got your solo album. You're Grammy-nominated on your own album. And you got Common on it. You got Glasper on it. So it's really like...
It's a family affair, man.
It's a family affair. It's been going since you're a teenager, man. That's beautiful, dude. Okay, so Common was the first tour.
Yeah.
And then Terrace calls you. for the Snoop tour. You, Terrace Martin, and Kamasi Washington is the horn section. The Snoopadelics. Yeah, man. Who else was on that with Sput? Was Craig on it?
No, Craig wasn't on that. It was Monty Newble.
Oh yeah.
JJ was on the bass.
Drums.
D-Lo. D-Lo was on the drums. And who else is on that? Marlon.
Wow.
Marlon on guitar.
That's crazy. That's the beginning of the Snoopadelics.
Well, I don't think that was the beginning, but it was a time.
It was a time of the Snoopadelics. That's crazy. I know because I've heard renditions of Snoopadelics. It's a great roster.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So you were like, all right, I'm in this. We're going. So here you are, teenager at the jazz camp. You meet two other guys that end up being like life musical partners. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes on to have successful careers. Mm-hmm. Did you know back then? So you knew that they were special because you felt it when you guys played. Mm-hmm. But like, did you think this was going to be this like, I guess this lifelong friendship and journey together?
I mean, you never really know that, but it's certain people who you meet that it's like a stardust in the relationship, you know, and it's kind of like, yo, I'm inspired by you.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by you. Oh, you're inspired by me? You know, these guys, we would literally spend hours on the phone running up my mother's phone bills and vice versa. Us on the phone, going back and forward, playing giant steps. Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
No way.
Yeah, way before we had any kind of...
That's on a house phone.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the wired house phone. I love that.
Like literally, yo, did you listen to that record? Yo, you should go buy that record. Did you hear that Kenny Garrett? Did you hear this? No. Okay, check it out. And vice versa, like really spreading the information, like person to person.
Yeah.
Before any internet, anything like that.
And pushing each other, inspiring each other, supporting each other.
Yeah.
And then Terrace comes with the gig for Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that tour like?
NDA.
Yeah. Canada's got that heavy indica.
It was an incredible time. Yeah. Incredible time.
Wow. And what was next? What came after that?
Man, I've been blessed to work with so many different people.
Yeah.
Let me see. Snoop at the time. You ever heard of this singer Bobby Short?
I'm not hip.
Passed away. But anyway, he was like a legendary musician.
Wow.
From him to the Count Basie Orchestra.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your resume is too big, bro. I only know like the high level. I'm so happy that we're doing the dive. Count Basie Orchestra.
Yes. And that was a funny time because I was studying at the New School in New York City. And back in the day, my grandfather used to always put on, Count Basie Orchestra. Yeah. And that's how I learned how to play.
You're hearing the Quincy trumpet parts.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I loved that music.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have an opportunity to really play it.
Yeah.
But I get called one day because something happened with the fourth trumpet player. And they needed a trumpet player the next day in Japan.
Yes.
So I get called and I get on the plane and I get there thinking I was going to get off the plane and go to sleep, which I didn't even think about, time differences.
The craziest time difference there is.
Get off the plane, put on your suit, get on the stage, and sight read the Count Basie book. So I did that.
Sight read the Count Basie book on stage.
You got to have all kind of skills. You got to be able to improvise. You also got to be able to read. You got to be able to show up and present yourself. You know? So that was one of the professional gigs that I did.
You were going from hip hop to Count Basie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or from jazz to hip hop to Count Basie.
Listen, man. What Quincy says, there's only two kinds of music. You got good and bad. As long as I'm on the side of the good music, I'm good. So from Count Basie to Erykah Badu.
And you were already in New York at this point. Mm-hmm. So you went after. How old were you when you left St. Louis?
17, 18.
17. You did the jazz camp. You met these guys. You went back to St. Louis?
Nah.
No.
Nah, once I moved to New York, I was here.
Oh, so you went from the jazz camp to...
Well, the jazz camp I was still in high school. I was like sophomore.
So you're in St. Louis still. Yeah. Got it.
Then moved to New York.
As soon as you graduated high school.
Yeah.
Got it. Straight to New York.
And, the rest is history. From Bilal to, who else?
Who did you just say before that? Badu? Who did you say?
Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu, bro. Come on,
Come
now.
on, Badu.
Come on.
Mary J. Blige.
And you're in your early 20s.
Yeah. And
Sick.
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
My brother. Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did the Cirque du Soleil tour with the incomparable Greg Phillinganes.
Phillinganes was music directing?
Yes, indeed.
Whoa.
It was pretty much the entire, most of the band from the Bad tour that were on this thing.
Which Cirque du Soleil show was it?
Michael Jackson, the Immortal World Tour, which is incredible. Incredible.
Of course it was the Bad band on that. Phillinganes.
Yeah.
Wow. Who was on drums?
Jonathan Moffett.
Got to be Moffett.
Jonathan Moffett.
Whoa.
Man. Sugarfoot. Shout out to Sugarfoot.
Wow. Man, so there was you went straight in, man.
Big time. 18,
you're just at punk and then just hitting on everything. All the good music.
Yeah. Trying. I'm trying to stay with it, man.
Succeeding. Okay, so keep going, please. I love hearing about the trajectory. Whoa.
Okay.
So Cirque du Soleil, then what came? It's so hard to just blow through these. We got to double click into some of these.
Cirque du Soleil, then I kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what, I got to do me. I've been working with everybody. I was working with Jay-Z. I was working with
with Jay-Z, you were on records, right? Or were you doing live too?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, when Jay-Z went out with a live band, first time.
These years when you're working with all these artists, are you mostly touring? You're a live trumpeter?
Well, I was doing everything. It's kind of what I do now.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I like the production. You know, I was doing a lot of production. I was an in-house producer for G Unit for years.
Yeah.
From 2004 to 2009.
In the G Unit years.
Those, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing.
Whoa. And when you were producing with G Unit, you programming?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, dude.
Yeah, the whole production thing. I mean, I was still, going, in New York, going to Smalls and sitting in and playing and making my rounds. But after that, I go home and, turn on the MPC, turn on the Triton,
Sick, dude.
My inbox.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Man.
That's the reason why it's interesting. When I talk to people or when people call me in the studio, they say, "Oh my God, how did you know what to play?" I'm a producer.
Yes.
I'm not a horn player.
Yeah.
There are horn players that just, you show up, you read, and you play the part. I'm thinking about the whole composition. I'm thinking about the snares there, the vocals there, don't play there. Add to that, build that up. Let's raise that part of the song. So anytime you get me into the studio, I'm thinking about it as a producer, not as a person who's just so happy to play notes.
Yes.
I've played a whole bunch of notes in my life, and I'd rather play a lot less.
Yes.
I'd rather play more impactful notes.
Yes.
So that's who I am as a musician, as an artist. I'm not just a horn player. I'm a person who's trying to put this thing together artfully.
Right.
Whether that be live or whether that be studio.
This all makes so much more sense now. I understand you better now. We will be better friends because of this. I'll be like,
man.
oh, I get it. Because I mean, like when I even seen you play recently, I've seen you play a bunch recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you play over the years many times, and like, yeah, but you listen like a producer. Like you're playing, and it was fun. Your tone last night, by the way, was so incredible. So incredible.
Shout out to Jackie. She was doing the sound.
Yeah, Jackie did great. Sounded great in there. But your tone last night was I don't know what it was that was different. And you do this thing that I swear sometimes I feel like you can manipulate, like you have a mute on your trumpet and you don't have a mute.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's a Keyon thing. And or the way you end your breaths or extend the breath into the trumpet, that's a Keyon thing, dude. Like,
I'm still in all of this, Elmo.
Yeah, man.
I'm taking it.
That's so it's okay. So at what point were you like, all right, because you're playing with everyone now. You're giving yourself to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're building your career. You're playing live. You're making other people's records. Were you also making your own records back then?
You know what? Not as much.
Yeah.
I mean, even to this day, I have 3 official records. I have more than that, but I played on hundreds of records. 3 official, a couple more coming really soon. But for the most part, I have been, giving so much, which is nothing wrong with that. And I've learned a lot. But I got to the point after I got off the road with Cirque du Soleil that I was like, you know what? It's time for me to do me. And I got the call by my brother Robert Glasper and Don Cheadle to work on the Miles Davis film.
Oh.
Shout out to those incredible guys.
Wow.
The project won a Grammy Award.
Yeah.
From that, it was kind of like, okay, after I basically become the stunt double for Miles Davis.
Yeah, the trumpet stunt double for Miles Davis.
I'm like, okay, I need to do myself. So at that point, I really got focused and said, let me record. And I got signed to Sony. And, I did my album, The Musician. Which was great. Featured Chris Dave and Glasper and Bilal and Gary Clark Jr. Great vibes.
Yeah.
And from that, I said, it's time for me to be the leader.
Yeah.
And I really truly believe this. You can only, lead if you've been a follower.
Yeah.
So, so you understand what you can do, what you should be, ethically, what you should be doing, just the whole nine.
Yes.
How to be a leader.
Yes.
So from that, it's been the Keyon Harrold Quintet since then for the most part.
So when you were doing that and you were like, I'm going to make this album, you start getting these collabs together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that are you intentionally calling these friends for features, or is it just like kind of organically happening?
It's organic.
Yeah.
It's really organic. Fortunately, I got some super friends,
absolutely,
which is a beautiful thing. But it's all organic. It's about the music first.
And when you go into album mode for making your own album, are you focused? Are you turning down other work?
I turn down some work.
Yeah.
Things that are distracting, I don't really mess with.
Right.
But I'm always every day trying to find something to make music better.
Yeah.
As a whole.
Yeah.
So any way I can be of service in that way, I'm there for it.
What advice could you give to a musician who is playing with others, whether they're touring or they're on records? They want to make their solo album, but they have a hard time making it for the reason of, could be focus, could be like, oh, I need to put bread on the table, I got this gig opportunity. What advice could you give to that, to actually getting it done and making the album?
Man, if you feel you have something to say, you must say it. Mm-hmm. For so many reasons. The first reason is respect for yourself. Yeah. The second reason, you won't be able to walk into the room as yourself until you do you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For a very long time, I would always walk into the room and it'd be like the trumpet player. He's great. That's Keyon. He's cool. He worked on this, blah, blah, blah. But where's his music? So at some point, like now, I can walk in the room. It's like, oh, that's Keyon. Oh, he worked with Mac Miller. Oh, he did the stuff with so-and-so. Oh, I have his album Foreverland, and it's amazing. It's my favorite. It's a beautiful day.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Like when you walked in today.
See?
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to get the confidence to say, I'm doing this for me.
Yes.
It's great to work and collaborate with so many other people, but when you're dead and gone, when your children start to look at you and when people start to wonder who you are, if you don't have anything to show for it, it's what have you really done this for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is you getting past it being a hobby. Wow. This is you saying, you know what, I'm an artist and my job and the universe is telling me that I've spent all these years, all the Malcolm Gladwell 10 hours a day for the last 15, 20 years. Yeah. If you don't have anything to show for it, it's like, what are we doing? It's like, working for a company forever and don't have a pension. It's like you've given your life. So how don't you have anything to show for it?
Yes.
So this art, whether it be a CD, whether it be a single, whether it be you creating a book or a podcast or whatever it is that has totally been driven by you and your heart.
Yes.
If you don't put that out there to the universe is actually losing.
Yes.
Because you didn't believe. It's time for you to just get past yourself, get past ego, get past, lack, get past you not being able to believe in yourself and trust in the process that, what you put out there to the universe is what everybody else was needing.
Oh, dude.
And every time I perform, I get a chance to see that, because sometimes you'll be like, damn, I didn't really want to play that. Or dang, I didn't, I have a song on the album that I didn't want to sing. I actually had somebody else on it singing it. And the engineer told me, listen, bro, no, let's go with yours. And, you know, that pushed me to another level. It allows me to see that I can actually do this. You know, you got to do something to prove to yourself sometimes that you can actually do it. Nobody else can push you, you know. Do it from the standpoint that if you don't give your gift, somebody else won't be blessed.
Yes, man. I love it, dude. Thank you for saying all that.
Come on, man.
I am suffering as a person who has a lot going on, working on a million projects, and one of the small projects is my solo album that I'll eventually do. But every time I start to do it, I'm just like pulled in another direction. I'm like, not yet. But you said something that really resonated with me, which is if you feel you got something to say right now, you got to say it. And I think I do have something more to say in kind of just doing these conversations on the podcast than I do musically in this moment, actually. And maybe that's why I'm not prioritizing making my album.
But like you said, it's also a priority thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you have many gifts, it's also tough to figure out what's the one that should be elevated at the moment.
Absolutely.
And, you know, again, there's my dad used to tell me this every day.
Yeah.
There's a time and season to every purpose under the sun. So eventually it's going to be time for you to put that as the priority.
Yes.
Right now, you are helping the industry. You are helping people like me. You're helping so many people, you know, live their dreams, which is a beautiful thing. That too is a part of the whole gambit.
Yeah.
You know, like people like Quincy Jones and so many others. I think you roll in that way where you can help elevate somebody who didn't believe in themselves or didn't know that they had it in a certain way. But it's time for the Elmo album, though. Come on, man. And let me know if you need some horns. I'm here for it. Come on, man.
You're on the call list.
Come on.
Of course,
I'm right
Keyon.
down the street.
Let's go, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And so speaking of having something to say, you obviously did. Foreverland comes out. First of all, I love the name Foreverland, and I love the artwork. I love as soon as I saw the cover art, I was like, oh, that's
my man D.L. Warfield. Incredible artist from St. Louis.
And that's a big deal because the second you see the branding, it makes you either lean into an album or not, right? So the name Foreverland, like it sounds just timeless immediately. Keyon Harrold, Foreverland's timeless, right? Then you have this like pop art, like bright this bright
the pinks.
Yeah, the pink, like
the florals.
And it looks great. And then you hear it and find your peace, man. Right? Like talk about having something to say, man.
Come on, man.
Like
in the world that we live in right now, if you're an artist, you don't have anything to say about what's going on. It's like, what are you looking at? What are you doing? Like, where are you going?
Yes.
Are you in the streets? Are you listening to what people are saying? Are you seeing people hurt? Are you seeing people, you know, in any way? It's like, as an artist, our job is to paint the times, to show what's going on, and also give somebody else an opportunity to grow or to give them some faith to live on. You know, I think that's our job, man, as artists, and using our platform to help people and elevate people.
Yes, man. Dude. So Foreverland comes out. You get the Grammy nomination, bro, on your album, man.
Yes. First one. Again, I've been a part of so many records, but this was the first nomination on my own.
On your own.
You know.
That's a big deal, man.
Big deal. And
I was... Did you freak out?
Totally freaked out. Because, you know, I worked so hard. And not just me, everybody who worked in this project with me. You know, it was a crazy labor, and it was a long process.
Yes.
So to get to the end of it was really special. And shout out to everybody who was in the category. The category was insane. Andre 3000, Robert Glasper.
The year Andre wants to do a flute album.
You know.
Amazing. And then Glasper, who's the king of the category.
Come on now. And a Rouge.
Yeah.
And shout out to Michelle and Diego Cello. She won it. So...
Yeah, Michelle album and the Rouge album. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of great work.
I'm in good company.
Absolutely.
And I love them all, so it's beautiful.
Yeah, you see friends, you see peers in the category. That's really cool.
Yes, indeed.
That's really what happened when you found out?
About getting the nomination?
Yeah.
I went crazy. What happened was, seriously, I was in Miami, and I was on the phone, and I was doing something. I was actually watching the other nominations before. Yeah. Something happened where my phone died right before my category. And I'm like, what the hell? So, you know, I ended up turning the phone back on, and somebody called me and was like, congratulations. I hadn't even seen it.
Oh!
So I was just kind of like, yes.
Who was it? Do you remember?
I can't even remember.
Oh, man.
You know,
Yeah,
but
someone called you and said, congratulations. Wait, I won? Or I got the nom?
I was like, what? So, you know, that was an incredible feeling. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, dude.
I'm going to live in it once again.
Congratulations. Okay, so I feel like I want to talk about specifically Find Your Peace,
Okay.
which is the opening song on the album. First of all, if you guys haven't listened to Foreverland yet, go do yourself a favor and listen to this album. Okay, Keyon Harrold, Foreverland. The opening track is Find Your Peace. Features Common, Gene Baylor, Glasper, Chris Dave on the beat. Sick. And the lyrics, I just want to read the lyrics because...
and Jahi Sundance.
Oh,
Shout
and
out to
Jahi. Big shouts to Jahi. Okay, so Find Your Peace lyrics, at least on that chorus. Gotta try to find a peace of mind. Can't control things outside. Own your peace inside. Situation's gonna test you. Free your mind. But you can leave all that shit behind. What you can't control, can't give your time. Things will work out fine. Find your peace.
Yeah.
Man, I know this is last year this came out, but like, I mean, it's this. I mean, these lyrics are gonna live true forever, but especially right now, man. This is like turn off the noise, focus on you. You can't control that outside narrative. There's enough going on for you to try to do.
100%. Find your peace inside, 'cause you can't control things outside. Own your peace inside. Situations gonna test you. Free your mind. You can leave all that shit behind. What you can't control, can't give your time. Guess what? Things will work out fine when you find your peace. You gotta go to that place, whether that be meditating, whether that be going for a walk, whether that be, you know, getting with people who you love, getting with people who support you, or getting away from things that that stop you from being your greatest self.
Yes.
You got to be able to own that, go there, and be able to trust yourself that the healing, the restoration, the understanding all starts from here. It starts from inside. And you can't affect no change until you change here. So wherever you got to do to find that, whether it be drinking some holy water, or some wheatgrass, whatever you got to do, you know, find that and own it and hold on to it, you know.
How do you do it?
Man, being around good people, great food, you know, being around great music, being inspired as much as I possibly can, going where the inspiration is.
Yes.
You know, because that keeps me growing, that keeps me living.
What are the things that you have to fight against internally to make yourself be the best Keyon?
Man, distractions is one.
Yeah.
There's you know, opportunities. There's so many opportunities that come that actually take your time, that actually take your mind, that actually take your grind, because you end up putting all this, you know, this weight on something that doesn't really even promote you, or I don't want to say promote, it doesn't really elevate who you are. You know, so whatever that is, you got to be able to try to notice that and see it. And sometimes you got to just back away. Sometimes you got to, you know, be silent with yourself. Other things that distract, you know, politics.
It's screaming at us.
Everything that's going on in the world right now that I wish I could just turn it off. You know, but when I turn it off and turn it back on, it's still there. It's even worse.
I know.
It's
even worse.
And more comical. It's like a really, really current version of a Black Mirror episode that we're living in right now. But how do we know in ourselves that we're going to get past this? How are we going to not let that dictate the positivity that we can have? How we're gonna not let that dictate the work that we're gonna get done, the albums that we're gonna get done, the buildings that we're gonna build, the communities that we're gonna start and foster? How do we not let that stuff distract from the actual true purpose? Is you know what we got to do? And again, that starts from inside.
Yes. Did you always have this this piece or this knowledge of the importance of focusing on your piece. I heard you mention your dad earlier. Like, was this something that was like came up in your upbringing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad and my mom were in the ministry.
Yeah.
My dad is still here. Mom is looking down.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But you know, they always gave me, you know, positivity. You know, the glass is always halfway full.
Beautiful.
You know, you can look at the positive side, or you can be pessimistic about whatever it is that you look at.
Yeah.
You know, so I choose positivity.
Yes.
You know, as much as I possibly can.
Yes.
You know, and that's just what I believe, and it helps me power past so much BS.
Yes.
You know, because again, I can take the red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah.
And either one is going to be what it is, but at least I'll be happy about it.
Absolutely, man.
You know.
Wow. At what age were you when you became a dad?
I was 20. I was 24.
You were 24. Yeah, because I've met your son several times.
Yeah. He's at Berklee School of Music. Shout out
he's
to
at Berklee now?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Because he's a producer, right?
Yeah, producer and plays drums.
Keyon Harrold Jr.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, and he plays drums. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You seem like a great dad.
I try to be.
Yes, dude.
Try to be.
He's got to be. He must be like, yeah, my dad's pretty cool.
Man, he laughs at me.
I love how you always have him around, man. Like,
as much as I can.
Yeah. I'll see him at the shows.
You know, but most of the time that's him.
Yeah.
He wants to be there.
He wants to be there.
You know, he wants to be a part. He wants to learn. He feels like all of his uncles are really, really cool people, which they are.
Yes.
You know, so he's picking up, you know, the good vibes, you know, firsthand. So.
How new is he into Berklee?
This first year.
Oh, first year of Berklee.
First year, second semester.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
My buddy Jim just became the new president of Berklee.
I think I might have met him.
Jim Lucchese.
Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm stoked for Berklee. I'm stoked for Jim. I feel like it's a great fit. I mean, we've been talking a bunch about like what we can do with Jam Card in Berklee to help support and
beautiful.
That's great to know that your son is there. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Man, I remember when you guys went through that bullshit, bro. When was that?
That was
COVID.
COVID, like the end of COVID,
Yeah.
2021. December 2021.
Yeah, because I think we were still
locked down.
We were still locked down. Yeah.
Yep, we were still locked down, man.
I remember just watching online being like, what the fuck? Dude.
That's still crazy. I still can't even believe how long ago it's been now. But it was you know, a life-changing moment for us as a family.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think still the best is yet to come. You know, we got a chance to really speak on some issues in communities that have to do with race, that have to do with
absolutely,
you know, profiling and different things like that, things that need to change.
Yeah.
And we weren't even looking for the situation; it came directly to us, and we were just trying to have some breakfast.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, sorry to bring this up too. Also, I just
you know what I never mind talking about it. You know why? There's been so many scenarios of situations that have to do with race pretty much that unfortunately, you know, people die or people end up arrested, locked up.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it. I've always known about it. I'm from Ferguson. And if we know anything about Ferguson, it was legally proven that it was, you know, racism, you know, systemic racism put into the laws and where I grew up. So much so that I didn't even understand that police shouldn't stop you when you're walking down the street. I didn't know that until I moved to New York City.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That's
you
crazy.
Know. Anyway, the situation happened with my son. A young lady profiled him and said my son stole her iPhone.
Yeah.
Which obviously was so false. It's not true at all.
You guys were just chilling eating breakfast.
We were coming downstairs. We were gonna go eat breakfast.
Oh, okay.
And my son comes down the elevator first. And then I come down after him. Yeah. So when I get downstairs, there's a girl, you know, basically yelling at him saying, "Hey, stop him. He stole my phone." It's like, what? What do you mean? And, you know, from that, it got really, really crazy. The lady, you know, attacked my son. tried to take the phone from him, literally knocked him down, pushed him over, and it was just a whole thing.
This is at a hotel in New York.
At a hotel
in New York City.
In New York.
Yeah.
And I actually recorded the whole thing on video because it was so unbelievable that I'm like, man, I have to record this, bro. You go, sometimes we go to stores, we see things happening. We're just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. And then it just progressively got worse. And, from that, I posted it and it just went viral.
It went viral. It was all over the news. It was a huge thing. Yeah, which was so crazy to see because I was like, what? And then, obviously everyone watched the footage, your footage, and then there was like the security footage. Obviously your son is completely innocent, chilling, coming out the other, just going to get breakfast. You guys are staying at this hotel.
Yeah.
Like nice hotel. Like it's just like, man. And yeah, dude, that
thing is it should never happen.
He was how old?
Maybe he was 13.
13. So he's young, man.
Yeah.
Young, sweet kid. So and then all this bullshit happens, and obviously he's innocent, and it was clear he's innocent, and blah blah blah. It gets all over the news. It gets picked up everywhere. You guys are with like super important people talking about it. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I saw you guys after lockdown ended, and then and I saw you and I saw your son. You guys were the same. You guys were like I want to say unaffected, right? Like just like in terms like your son still had his like happy charm that you guys both have and everything. And so I guess my question is, now that this is years later and it's been proven that woman's an idiot, and thank God it just showed that we need to stop all these forms of any sort of just accusatory racism, whatever this crap is, like needs to stop. But now here we are years later. How did you as a parent like handle that to keep, because you already are hands-on dad, you're bringing him to the shows, he's cool, he's a musician, he gets it, he's in the scene, like when he hangs around, just feel like, oh cool, what's up, man, it's cool. How do you handle that as a dad, right, to keep him so he doesn't lose himself or become too negative in it or find fault in his own self that he doesn't deserve to have? How do you handle that?
Man, I just try to continually talk positivity to him.
Yeah.
Continually give him options, give him ways to express himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, music is a really, really good part, or a really, really great solution for, natural therapy to get out your feelings and your emotions. Because he actually wrote about this kind of stuff, which is great. But as a parent, obviously I have to watch him, and let them know that, certain things are not your fault. Certain things are because other people need to deal with what they need to deal with. It's not because of you. You got to continue to live your life. You got to continue to know that, things will change if you continue to be the change that people need to see. So that's the way I talk to him. I let him know that, son, you're the greatest. You're cool. It's going to be all right. People are going to be crazy. People are going to come at you. But you got to be a pillar so people know that, what, this is a higher level that maybe they need to get to. So I try to, give him the goods so he can stand, resolute in anything that he believes, any things he wants to accomplish. I try to give him, the options, try to give him good solutions. I mean, you really can't, again, goes back to the song. You can't really bank on what other people are going to do.
Yeah.
You can bank on what you can do.
Yes.
So I really try to keep him focusing on that,
Bro, you got to write a book. The Keyon Harrold Outlook on Life, man. 10 chapters on fatherhood.
Hey, all right, Elmo.
Let's go, man.
Let's go, man.
And I see your shirt. Is that Black Joy? Is that Aja Monet?
Black Joy? You know what? I got this from my sister, my friend, Lizz Wright.
Okay.
You know Lizz Wright?
I don't think I do.
Lizz Wright is one of the most incredible vocalists.
Oh, nice.
But even a better human being. She has a place in Chicago called Carter 47.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's an amazing store. It's a school, charter school. It's an art gallery. And if you're in Chicago, you should definitely try to go to Carver 47. Lizz Wright sells this shirt, so I got it from there.
I love it.
you know.
I love it. Do you know the Aja Monet song?
I've played it with her a few
I was going to say, I
times.
figured.
Matter of fact, we played the other day.
Did you?
As a matter of fact, at a gallery in Hollywood.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I love
Shout
seeing
out
it.
to Aja. That's
Yeah.
my sis.
Big shouts. I love Aja. That's awesome. That was my first poem of hers that I heard. Black Joy. Yeah.
Listen, her voice is like
amazing.
It's like a trumpet. It's like a it's like a trumpet with a bass under it.
Yeah, it's so full.
Yeah.
Beautiful voice.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to go back to the Miles Davis
Let's
biopic, dude, because that is so crazy. Okay, so Glasper calls you.
Mm-hmm.
What does he say?
He was, basically being asked to be the composer for the Miles Davis movie Miles Ahead. And they basically needed to obviously show that he could do it. So, he called me in and we had to create like different time periods of Miles Davis from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all of them. So, it was basically like he hits me like, yo, it's go time.
Yeah.
We got to do I got to work on this Miles Davis film. And for me, Miles is everything.
Yeah.
Miles is the epitome of the trumpet, the epitome of artistry. So I jumped at it and was like, okay, cool.
That's got to be a dream call.
Oh man,
yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, just to get the call and actually, I mean, you kind of can't mess that up.
No, you can't.
You better not mess that up.
What a challenge too.
So,
and an honor.
But the idea of it for me is Miles Davis. It's kind of like when you sit with your parents or whoever, a mentor or whatever, and they tell you certain things and you say, okay, I got it. But then you really don't got it. But then over time, you start to get it. And all of a sudden you start to speak like the mentor or the parent. That's how Miles Davis is for me.
Yeah.
Forever I listened to it. Forever I was like, oh man, if I could play like that, or let me transcribe that. Let me work that out. It was in my bones, after a while, Miles, but I never had to use it, but for this opportunity, I had the opportunity to just basically outpour everything that I had learned and that I understood about Miles Davis. So it's an incredible, incredible opportunity, man.
You must have learned so much even more in doing that, because recording those parts and trying to sound exactly like Miles on the microphone,
the whole nine.
Whoa! Diving deep with Rob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was one part of it, but another part was actually trying to make Don Cheadle's fingers look like what Miles Davis played, or make his fingers sound like what Miles would have played.
Right.
So basically, I would have to look at his fingers. He'd be doing like this, and obviously, when they shot the film, he hadn't played the notes that would be in the film.
Right.
So whatever the chords were happening, obviously this, that if chords are playing, there's only so many notes you can play over the chord where it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I had to make his fingers that had nothing to do with what the music would be make sense, not just make sure that the notes make sense, but make sure it sounds like Miles Davis. The inflections and everything. So basically, every phrase, if you see the movie Miles Ahead, you'll see Don playing, and you'll see that I put each note to make sense. Harmonically, rhythmically, what it looks like his face was doing, whether he's playing high or low, to all make sense. Sometimes in movies, people just say whatever. It's just music playing and people just moving their fingers. But I'm like, it's Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Got to take the time.
Gotta take the time.
Get it right.
Whoa, what a challenge, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That must have like even changed your game even more too, coming off that film.
Oh, absolutely. Because after I did that film, that's again when I went into the point where I was like, man, I gotta do my own thing.
Yeah.
It's time for me to, do Keyon Harrold music.
When you and Rob are working on this project and stuff, how is he serious?
Rob, listen, again, when you think about the most amazing people, some of the most amazing people, when you think of Richard Pryor, you think of Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock.
Yeah.
All of these guys are some of the most incredibly thoughtful, smart, the highest level of intellect, people that you can deal with. but they're the funniest people in the world.
Yeah.
The same way, the same kind of thing is true with Rob.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the funniest people in the world, but he's definitely, bar none, one of the most serious people
Yes.
to ever walk the earth.
Yes.
You know, as a composer, as a visionary, as a friend, as a player. I can go on and on. You know, it's my brother, so I could talk about him in this way.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you know, he's one of the, you know, most incredibly serious people ever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you just look, he has a crazy catalog of songs. He's always working.
Yeah.
You know,
always.
But in the studio, it's always it's fun and games, but it's very serious.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it comes down to, and this is something else, you know, the people that you choose to work with will make your job either very easy or very hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, a certain thing is when you call certain people and you're actually extending trust, and they can trust you to come in and do a great job. And they can trust you to make them look good, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because if he calls me in, he knows I'm not gonna let you down.
Absolutely.
And vice versa.
Full trust.
You know, that's one of the things. Again, which is interesting. That brings me to another point. I seen something recently. I'm not going to talk totally about it, but I seen something, and it was kind of like Miles Davis didn't have a plan when he went into the studio, and I was like, what? If you got Paul Chambers, if you got Bill Evans, if you got John Coltrane, if you got Cannonball Adderley, whether you have any music or not, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan.
If you put those people together, that's a team. And teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
So, you know, as an artist, as a composer, most of the things that make you great has nothing to do with the actual things that you write down. It's the people that you've employed to make certain visions happen, man.
Absolutely. That's the most important part of producing, right? It'll make the album come together much quicker if you do a great job on that. Step one of producing. Who's in the room?
Come on now.
Who do I want here?
Yes,
and can I get those people here?
Right.
Do I have the accessibility to, can I get them?
And if you do, chances are
it's going to be pretty good.
You're going to win.
I love thinking about you and Rob and Terrace like 20-something years later, like from talking on the phone as teenagers being like, did you get this Kenny Garrett album?
No. See, but that's the crazy part.
I love it.
You know, even though it's all fun and games, it's so serious though. We were always serious.
Yeah.
You know, even to today, it's like, and I'd say these two guys because a lot of people know them, but there's so many other people that it's just like, it's serious.
Yeah.
You know, let's have a drink, but let's do this record.
All right. So we know the big names in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the other names? Who should I be looking out for, man? Who should everyone be looking out for? Other people you're working with that may not be as big of a name, but they got the talent, or the up and comers.
Okay, I would say one of the most incredible people out now is a young singer named Malaya.
Yep.
She worked on my record, but she does some other things. Works with Terrace. She works with a lot of different people.
Yeah,
she is coming up.
She's dope.
Amazing. The Stout.
Yes.
If y'all don't know the Stout, you got to check out the Stout.
Yeah, incredible performer too.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. She gets down. What else is out there?
Same with Malaya too. Great performer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elena Penderhughes. I mean, everybody doesn't know her, but if you don't, you should know her. She's just one of the most incredible artists of our time.
Absolutely.
On the flute, vocals, production, it doesn't really matter. She's here for it.
Yes.
Ben Williams, amazing.
Nice.
Bass player, producer. Who else is out here? Jonathan Pinson. We spoke about him earlier.
Yes, sir.
But most people, again, some of these people are so used to backing other people that when you delve into their art, you'll see, okay, that's the reason why that person can make me sound great.
Yeah.
Because that person has it together for himself. So, and just, you know, I think one of the biggest outlying qualities that all these people have is that they're really, really high-level humans.
Yes.
You know, beautiful people. And what did Quincy say? You can only make music as beautiful as you are as a person. You know.
I love it.
So.
If we want to make a new Smalls-esque scene in LA, because we need this, right? Well, Blue Note's coming. which
Yes.
is great. Blue Note LA is coming.
Let's go. Let's go.
Can't wait.
Steve, Alex, come on.
Come
let's
on
go.
now.
Let's go.
They're trying. They're waiting on permits. They're pushing. There's a Blue Note festivals happening.
Yes, sir. And I'll be there.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Of course you're there, Keyon.
At the bowl.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. My cousin Joe's playing.
Okay.
On Sunday. Joe Lovano plays.
Joe's your cousin?
Yeah.
Papa Joe's your cousin?
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely, man.
I love Joe.
Joe's the best, dude.
We had a great time in Europe.
Oh, did you?
Me, him, Terry Lynn Carrington.
Yes.
We had a ball like 2 years ago.
Playing together?
Yeah.
What? With Joe's ensemble or Terry's?
It was kind of like we were the faculty. It was myself, Terry Lynn, Joe, Carlos Enrique, who plays with Wynn Marsalis's band, and somebody else. But we just ended up in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I love to hear that.
Man, we jammed a few times. I want to run that back, actually.
Yeah, Joe's the man. I wish he was out here more, but he'll be out here for that. Yeah. He's actually out here. He's not out today. He's in San Diego. He hit me up about going to San Diego today, but I was like, that's.
I can't believe that's your cousin.
Man, Joe taught me how to play, bro. Joe is like, yeah. Joe's the man, dude.
Jody and Judy.
Judy.
Joe and Judy.
Yeah, Judy, man. Yeah, that's my mom's. That's the Lovano side. That's my mom's whole side. And
what?
Yeah, dude.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Joe's amazing.
So you know Otis Brown,
of course. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, Joe got me hip to everyone before they were like Esperanza. When Esperanza was like 16,
yes.
I'm actually going to be in Abu Dhabi with Esperanza Spalding, like in like 10 days or something in 2 weeks.
Incredible.
And Herbie's going to be out there too. International Jazz Day. International Jazz Day,
amazing.
Abu Dhabi. Habibi, yallah. Can't wait. I love it out there. But yeah, because like my dad's side is more rock and roll.
Got
and
you.
my mom's side is more jazz.
Got you.
Totally jazz. Like not just Joe, but even Joe's dad, and all of Joe's uncles, which is my grandpa, right? All horn players, all jazz, like all from Cleveland, Ohio. Everyone. Amazing. I mean, obviously, by the time I was born in LA and raised here. But as my mom tells me, and Joe tells me, and my grandpa and everything, like they'd wait, every night downstairs in the basement in Ohio. It was my grandpa and all of his brothers playing jazz, man, all playing horn, and then young Joe watching them.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so.
Cleveland, so do you think you must know my man Dominique Farinacci?
I don't know Dominique. Oh, okay. I need to.
Yeah, he's from Cleveland. He's Italian.
Yeah. Where does he live? Is still in Cleveland?
He moved back to Cleveland. He works really heavily on the Tri-C Jazz Festival.
Okay, nice. I'd love to connect
but
with
amazing
him.
trumpeter.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
I would love to connect with him, dude. Yeah, and Joe is like family guy.
Okay.
Really, 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 really cares about the family.
The question is, does he cook? Do you cook? You're Italian.
The Italian side?
Come on.
Not to the point where I could be proud right now with this answer. I eat. I eat good. When you were saying about finding your peace and you mentioned good food, I was like, oh, I never thought about that. Because that brings me peace and happiness and joy every day. My meals, bro. We're focusing on the meals. I'm going to Sicily. We're from Sicily.
I just came from Sicily.
Did you?
Man, man, it was unbelievable.
Really?
I can't wait to get back.
I go there in July, and we're from Messina. That's like the village that the Lovanos are from.
Okay.
And there's a Joe Lovano statue in Messina, bro. Yeah, he's got a statue.
Shout out to Papa Joe. Shout out to Papa Joe.
My guy, dude. So in June, we'll all be together, man. And that's one thing that like Terrace always, like, I got to bring, I've talked with Joe and Terrace about each other individually and Rob, but I haven't had us all together yet. So I wanted maybe that week of Blue Note Jazz Fest, we should do a dinner.
That'd be amazing.
Joe, you, me, Rob, Terrace, and everything.
Let's do it.
It's like the 6 of us or something would be awesome. Because you got to see Joe in that light.
Got you.
In that light, he's a special guy. But anyways, okay, dude. So let's go back to that resume. You blew through a lot of names, dude. It's like I know you've had like, I mean, crazy moments with like Diana Ross, and then like all like
that was wild. That was a beautiful.
Is there any artist or story that you want to kind of double click into that you think is like something that should be shared?
Man, I think you brought up Diana Ross.
Yeah.
I was actually on the road. When I say this stuff, it sounds crazy to be saying it, but I was on the road with Common, and we were campaigning. Not this election, like the last election, and
for Biden.
For Biden,
yeah.
And we met the VP, the soon to be VP, Kamala, in Texas. And that same night, I get a call from a friend, like, yo, would you like to work on a song with Miss Ross? I was like, what? Like, hell yeah. So I get the call, and my man Troy Miller, who produces a lot of records for Gregory Porter, and shout out to Gregory Porter. I do a lot of music with my man Gregory Porter, one of the best voices of our time.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so Troy calls me and you say, I'm producing this record for Miss Ross, and got this perfect song. So what was special about that was, and I'm kind of moving into this realm too, where she doesn't really record with anybody. She doesn't know.
I love that.
So, but that's tough. She doesn't know me.
Yeah.
So, obviously the singer Fred Wright, who works with her, knows me.
Yeah.
And Troy knew me, but she didn't. So her thing is we had to have a conversation, and we spoke, and it was the most beautiful conversation ever. And then after that.
Wait, hold on. She just calls you?
Yes.
Are they like, hey, Diana Ross is about to call you?
Yes. Diana Ross, the queen.
And you answer the phone, and she's like, is this Keyon? Like, this is Diana. What did she say?
Hello,
it's Diana?
How are you? In the Diana Ross classic royal regal voice.
Yeah.
We have a whole conversation for like an hour talking about all kind of stuff.
Whoa,
just really shooting it.
Yeah.
And she says, I checked you out, and now I just wanted to talk to you now. Okay. Now you can record the song.
Whoa.
And that's pretty much what it was. The song is out on her last record.
Yeah. What do you think that is of her wanting to do that? Is that like she's so precious about her art, her music, that she wants everything that's actually sonically heard in it to be something that she soulfully approves of? Is that?
Yeah, I definitely think that's one of the reasons.
Really cool.
Definitely one of the reasons. And
she's a sweetheart.
The best.
Wow.
The best. And that's one of my favorite memories.
Yeah.
About recording a song.
Right.
Anyway, and after I did it, she called me back.
With feedback or what?
With no, like
just praise.
Just praise, like I'm happy with it because it's Diana Ross. Whoa. I'm not gonna send her one take. I sent her 5 takes.
Yeah.
And she said, I love them all. I've picked the one that we're gonna go with, but I love them all. And we talked through them, and it was just kind of like the best kind of thing, man.
I wonder if she's
Diana Ross, man.
Is Diana Ross sitting there comping your trumpet, bro?
I don't know.
Whoa.
But she was definitely listening to him, and it was just kind of like, that was special to me. That's one of my, favorite recording memories.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Whoa. What else? Because it's like, man, we could be asking you about any million artists right now,
man.
Jay or Maxwell or
Estelle.
Oh yeah,
Estelle has a new record we just did that she put out.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. That's fire.
Yeah.
It gets you hype. It gets you in the moment. Another memory was working with Mac Miller.
What project was that?
The Divine Feminine.
Who was producing? Or who
was Mac. Mac was producing it.
Mac producing.
Yeah. I was in New York. And shout out to Rob. Rob introduced me to Mac Miller.
Oh, nice.
And Mac had this song, and we worked on it for 2 days. And it's a song called Stay, Survive. And, just seeing his work ethic was incredible because he's like a studio rat, like be sleeping on the, like not in a derogatory way.
No, yeah.
He's in the zone.
He's in it, yeah.
And I got a chance to really see that. And that was amazing. Harmonically, incredible musician, incredible artist, not just, oh my God, I'm a rapper.
Right.
Just a talent.
Yeah.
So that was, incredibly special.
He's producing the tracks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Going back and forth with, what I was playing, just the whole nine. Obviously, he gave me freedom to do what I do, but he was very specific on what he wanted to happen out of the session, which was really, really cool. And obviously, just, he's a legend now.
Yeah, man.
GOAT. So, working with Mac Miller was special.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
What are some of these takeaways? You've been able to work with like some of the most gifted people and seen them as humans.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a through line?
The through line is, again, high level humanity. Yeah. One, because you get a chance to really see life and you really take a really focused interest in other people's lives. That way you're kind of self-adjusting and making yourself better, trying to see, okay, I can go that way, I can become better. High-level humanity, that's one. Two is the discipline that it really takes to be great.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm excited to do this, and tomorrow it goes out with the bathwater. Yeah. No, these people are in it to win it. When I talk about, just the love and camaraderie that I've had with some of the artists, like Rob and Terrace and so many others, this is not a hobby. This is, wholehearted, that every day we're trying to think about how else can we add to the canon of life.
Yes.
Like on a high level.
Absolutely.
And, no BS. So, that, strong discipline, strong, deep interest in people. Yeah. Trying to find out ways to elevate people. All the people who I love to work with, spend a lot of time doing that. Elevating other people.
The canon of life. You just went to Antarctica?
I did.
Okay, hold on. So you went to Antarctica.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. With like scientists and astronauts like Scott Kelly and Neil deGrasse Tyson. And
yes.
What? How did that come about?
Man. And Charlie Duke, who actually was on the Apollo mission. That came about, I was in Sicily.
Oh, it was during the Sicily trip. Okay.
This is crazy.
What?
I was in Sicily and I get a call from my man at the Jazz Foundation of America. And he was like, yo, do you want to go to Antarctica? And I was like, let me think. Yes. And I didn't know what it was going to be. So we go to Antarctica for 10 days with some of the most incredible minds on the planet.
How do you even get there? What, do you fly to the tip of South America and then take a boat or something?
Yeah. You fly down to Argentina.
Yeah.
Then you take a flight down to Ushuaia, which is the, really, really southernmost point where people, start the journey at the tip of South America through the Drake's Passage.
Whoa.
Into Antarctica.
Scary.
Very.
Drake's Passage. That's like,
it's legendary.
Whoa. That's crazy waves.
Yeah, they're like 30 feet, 35 feet.
And you're on
tall.
a boat?
On a boat.
Bro, are you scared?
You know what? This is the thing. I'm a thrill seeker, and I've come to realize that in life. Like, I've jumped out of a plane. I've attempted to go deep in the ocean on submarines and not even be a good swimmer.
What?
Kind of, I just give it a shot. So Antarctica was special because it's my 7th continent.
Nice.
I've completed it.
You've done it now.
But it was amazing. And it was about the journey. It was a bunch of adventurers. Obviously, Jacques Cousteau, right?
Yeah, of course.
So his granddaughter was there.
Whoa.
As a person who goes around the world, in nature and going as low as you can possibly go, just adventuring. And then there was a bunch of astronauts there. A lot of people from Blue Origin, a lot of people from NASA.
How many people Was like the
It was
group?
only 250 people.
And so
And
your
then-
friend called you. Who's your friend? Like, why you? What happened here? Were
My
there other
man-
musicians?
My
or-
man Joe from the Jazz Foundation.
Oh yeah,
I was the musician.
you were the musician.
Yeah, I was the musician explorer. Everybody were explorers. You got
Whoa.
astronauts. You got people
So
who.
Joe got hit up. They're like, "Do you know someone?" He was like, "I got someone in mind. It's Keyon."
Yeah,
Wow, that's
you know.
really
so
cool.
I got a chance to talk about exploration
yeah,
and sound
yeah,
and music.
Yeah,
You know, as a jazz improviser, you know, we all have, you know, confinements in what the chords are, but how do we weave through those chords? How do we get around the music? How do we go, you know, deeper? Or how do we find, you know, that door to take us to a whole nother level? And that's what we're all looking for. Everybody's trying to go to space. How far can you go?
yeah,
And music, how far can you go?
yeah.
So they brought me there to talk on that, which was
Wow.
a beautiful thing. So I met a whole bunch of really, really smart people, astrophysicists, astronauts, just, I don't know. It was an amazing explosion of possibility.
What were some like key takeaways, man, from seeing that?
Key takeaway is that we are embarking upon something greater,
Yeah,
you know? And again, that is simple to say,
yeah,
but that's everything.
yeah,
Okay, you want to go to Mars. That's deep.
yeah,
It's hard enough to go to the moon.
yeah.
So you got these people that are like, yeah, I'm excited. My whole life is devoted to going to this place,
Yes.
you know? And for me, I'm like, okay, in music, my whole life is devoted into creating something that somebody's inspired by, that would
Right.
allow them to go to the next level, to
Right.
take it to the next level. You know, when we think of Quincy, when we think of Coltrane, when we think of Miles and all these people like that, they opened the door for me to dream bigger. So I'm trying to do the same thing. So seeing those people, you know, SpaceX employee number 2,
Wow.
who was there
Wow.
doing the same thing, you know. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have the balls to say yes to go.
Oh, it was amazing. It was also very cold.
Yeah. So cold.
You know-
I mean, you must have played down there, right? You played trumpet?
You can't. The nature.
What do you mean?
Can you imagine if it was too loud and an iceberg just comes down or anything?
Whoa. That is heavy, dude.
Yeah.
That is so heavy. It shows how powerful your sound is, too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But that was amazing. Honestly. I'll just say going to Antarctica to step on the land. When we got there, it was like we pulled into this bay that was actually a volcano,
Yeah.
and the water was hot, and it was
What?
incredible. I mean, when we were there, since it was winter solstice, it was actually like 40 degrees in Antarctica where we went. It wasn't so cold.
Right.
In the summertime, you go back, minus 60.
Right.
So when we pulled up, it's just beautiful. You have seen the seals, you know.
You walking on ice? You walking on snow? You walking
No.
dirt,
It was just
land?
dirt. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it was, you know, sunny.
Yeah.
And then, well, it was, you know, daytime
Yeah.
most of the time because it was winter solstice. So it was cool. But I did do a cold plunge, which was crazy. I don't know why I did it.
Yeah, because you had to, and you're a
I
thrill
had
seeker,
to do
bro.
it. And I had lots of tequila.
What did that feel like?
I was reborn. Yeah.
It felt that deep.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It
The
was
waters
it
of
was
Antarctica.
so damn cold. Like
That'll
literally
lift you up.
well, my whole body shut down within about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And you had to get out of that stuff. It was so cold.
Oh, I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it.
Yeah. But I had to do it, man. I had to do
Yes,
it.
dude.
I would have regretted it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Man, so I was watching you play last night,
Uh-oh.
and I was thinking something. Have you ever worn Meta Ray-Bans?
I have.
Nice.
But I should do
You
it more.
should. It'd be so cool for content to see your perspective with the horn in front of you. You know, like
Okay.
the horn in front of you and your fingers.
Okay.
For just like a fan or something to see that if you dropped a live performance that was whatever, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes,
Okay.
or a set, one set,
Okay.
with mixed audio.
Okay.
But the whole thing is your perspective through your eyes.
You heard it first.
Trumpet.
This is produced by Elmo.
Let's go. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Let's do a live performance, track it. And,
That's fire.
And but wear Meta Ray-Bans the whole time, and it's just KEYON'S perspective. Because like when I watch you, because like you have, you start the show, you get it going, you're leading the melodies, you're pushing everyone, but then you're playing producer. So much you're watching, piano players going, you're vibing, right? You want to see where you're looking. It'll show you as the producer where your eyes are going.
Okay.
Then when you're playing, it must be so cool. Like when you hit those powerful notes on the trumpet and you're like looking up as you're hitting it, it would just be insane for this. You're used to this. But you would feel your emotion. I feel like it would get you deeper into the emotion that you are actually putting out there.
Dude, I've never looked at it like that. That's an incredible idea. The only time I've really done it is like sound check.
Oh, okay.
It's never like live,
or
anything like that. Okay.
Do the whole show, bro.
Okay.
The whole show. You got to mix the audio, not like not the camera.
Got you.
Get the board mix. We'll mix it and then just drop it on YouTube or drop it on.
That's fire.
On the platform. That's fire, dude.
I'm down.
I was watching you play last night and I was like, I would love to see that.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Let's go. We're going to do it, man. Bro, thank you so much for coming over.
Man, it's a pleasure, man.
I'm glad we got to hang.
Yes.
I have one more request.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard, but I have this crazy agave plant in my backyard.
Okay.
That's going wild. And it's growing this giant 30-foot flower out of it. Would you play trumpet for my agave plant?
I absolutely. Hold up. Are you doing like tequila or something?
No.
What's going on?
This is like a 50-year-old plant that was already in this house when I moved in. It was already in this house. It's the plant is gorgeous. It's stunning. I'm going to take you out there. I'm going to blow your mind. We're going to film it.
Let's do it.
It's going to blow your mind. It's going crazy on my Instagram right now. Everyone's like hitting me up like, will you show me more footage of the plant? I can't. Essentially, I was in Japan for 2 weeks. The plant is big. It's a big agave plant. I came home and looked normal. Or excuse me, I left for Japan. It looked normal. I came home and there's a 20-foot stalk coming out of it that's growing a foot a day.
Wow.
It's growing a foot a day. I didn't even know like plants could do this, right? To talk about like life power. Like
I'm excited to get to this plant.
It thing's like 25 feet tall now. And it's going crazy on my Instagram. I'd love for you to just, bless it.
Okay.
Keyon.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
My God. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton of noise. Keyon Harrold. My bro. Let's go. So it is called the Century Bloom.
Okay.
It happens once in its lifetime. It's like an anomaly that this plant can do. And so this plant's like 50 years old. So this is the only time it'll ever do this. It's shooting this up. It's growing a foot a day. It's going to have a 30-foot tall flower, and then the whole plant dies.
No.
It's its final show. It never flowers ever.
No.
And so it's in peak health. It's in peak health. It shoots out this glorious flower, and then in all its glory, dies.
Damn.
But dude, this thing, like, bro. Solid. And it's growing a foot a day. Ladies and gentlemen, Keyon Harrold featuring my agave Americano plant. My plant will remember this forever on its final days.
Go with Elmo. 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 Go with Elmo.
This is the stuff, man.